So now let's introduce our guest today, Mr. Ralph Norris, CEO and MD of the Commonwealth Bank. Welcome, Ralph.
Thanks very much, Anthony.
I'm really keen to know your thoughts, or the bank's, or the prognosis for the next year.
Well, I think as far as we're concerned, we're taking a very cautious approach. We've taken the view that we should make sure that we've got our funding locked in several months in advance so that we don't get ourselves short in this type of environment. We're holding significantly higher levels of liquidity, so we've gone for what you would call a fortress balance sheet to make sure that whatever the market throws at us, we're able to absorb. Now, that's very much a defensive position at this point, but having seen what's gone on over the last 2 or 3 years, then I think that's a very appropriate positioning to take for the organisation.
So is this a period where, from a management point of view, steady as she goes, don't worry about super growth or anything, just keep it nice and clean and just let's get through this?
Yeah, I think it's very much a case of saying, hey, we're going to go through a pipeline here for a period of what is going to be a period of potential further shocks, and we shouldn't, I don't actually think that the global financial crisis actually ended. I think we went through a period where it wasn't as pronounced, but we've obviously seen a situation over the last few months that says that we should always be prepared for the fact that there could be more external shocks.
Gut instincts, do you think it's 1, 2, 3 years, 5 years?
I think that for Europe, it's probably a 15, 20 year. It could be. It could be like Japan. I mean, Japan has been in difficulty now for over 20 years. So, from a point of view of stagflation and the like, Europe has got a huge amount of debt, and to get out of that, and they've got demography working against them. The workforce is ageing. The pension entitlements and all the rest of it that have been locked in by the European governments are significant. So, in many respects, I just wonder how they're actually going to solve a lot of those problems. But it is going to take strong leadership, and it is going to take somebody putting in place plans that the market is actually going to turn around and say, that makes sense, that's going to work.
So basically, what we've got now, we need to get used to, and just start to live within our means and live what I would have considered years ago a normal life.
I think what will happen is, Anthony, is that people will start to discern much more the differences, because what will happen is at the moment we've had the situation where it's been sort of carte blanche, everybody's been treated in a similar manner. I think we're going to get into a situation now where over the next year or two, investors internationally will start to say, yeah, I think places like Australia, being on the fringe of Asia, being much more linked into the Asian economy than the US or the European economy, is a reasonable place to be. And I think that that will happen. It's like what happened after the in the late 80s and into the early 90s. People start to realise that all of the world wasn't homogenous. The Japanese problem wasn't impacting everywhere else. So I think from that perspective, you'll see us get re-rated.
South Australia, how do you see South Australia?
Well, South Australia has been, had major problems obviously in the early 90s and has done a great job in coming out of that. And I think that obviously with things like Olympic Dam and Roxby, that it's in a great position. So I think that South Australia has got probably it's probably got a greater future to look forward to than it's had in the past in many respects. Well, more particularly in the last 30, 40 years.
Well, that's it for today's show. Hope you enjoyed looking back at the best bits of 2012. Make sure you join us next week when we kick off the first live show of 2013, where this year we'll be bringing you more exclusive interviews and you'll see inside some truly amazing homes. So we'll see you then next Wednesday at 1 o'clock right here on TOOP TV.